I never thought I'd be the guy to find out my wife was cheating on me. Honestly, I always believed in the idea that marriage was about trust and loyalty. My name's Mike, by the way, and I've been with my wife, Lisa, for about 7 years. We got married pretty young, and for the most part, things seemed normal, or at least I thought they did. At first, there were small signs that seemed innocent enough. Lisa started working late more often, which I initially thought was just her trying to get ahead at her job. She'd come home looking exhausted, sometimes smelling a little different, like she'd been somewhere else with someone else. I'd ask her about it and she'd brush me off, saying I was being paranoid or that I was insecure. Classic. Things got a little worse when she started going out with her friends more, saying she needed girl time. Fine, no big deal, right? But then I noticed her phone was always on silent, or she'd hide it whenever I came near. She'd text someone late at night and quickly hide her phone if I entered the room. I figured she was just talking to her friends, but there was this nagging feeling like I was missing something. One night, I came home early from work unexpectedly. I'd had a gut feeling that something wasn't right, and I decided to surprise her. I walked into the apartment and found her sitting on the couch, her phone in her hand, looking way too casual. She froze when she saw me. I could see her eyes darting away, trying to hide something. Her face went pale, and I felt my stomach tighten. I asked her who she was texting. She tried to brush it off, saying it was just her sister or a client from work, something harmless, but I knew better. The way she hesitated, the way she looked away, this wasn't something innocent. Then I saw the message on her screen, "Can't wait to see you tonight," and the name was different from her usual contacts. My heart sank. That moment was like a lightning strike. Everything I thought I knew about her, about us, shattered in an instant. I felt this weird mix of anger, betrayal, and this crushing sadness I couldn't quite process. I didn't yell right away, but I knew I had to confront her. I took her phone, looked straight into her eyes, and asked her what the hell was going on. The silence that followed was deafening. Lisa looked at me with that typical bitchy smirk she always had when she thought she was winning an argument, even though she was caught dead to rights. Her eyes flicked around the room, avoiding mine, like she was trying to come up with some excuse on the spot. I could see her trying to play it cool, like I was the idiot for suspecting anything. That's when she started lying big time. She told me she was just texting her sister, that I was paranoid and imagining things. Of course, I knew better. The message was right there, clear as day, and I'd seen her sneaking around enough to recognize the signs. I pressed her, told her to stop acting like a bitch and just admit what was going on. And then she did that thing women often do when they're caught. She rolled her eyes, sighed loudly, and said, "You're overthinking again. Maybe you're the one cheating on me, huh?" I couldn't believe the audacity. That moment, I felt like my blood was boiling. How could she even say that? She was the one sneaking around, lying, and then she's throwing accusations back at me. That was classic Lisa, always deflecting, always playing the victim. She had that nasty attitude that made it clear she thought she was smarter than everyone else, that she could get away with anything. But I wasn't having it. I told her I knew she was lying, that I had enough of her bullshit. That's when I started digging a little deeper. I told her I'd been noticing her late nights, the secretive texts, the way she'd suddenly be extra affectionate one day and cold the next. I even told her I'd seen her with another guy at that stupid bar downtown last weekend. She just scoffed and said I was crazy, that I was imagining things. Typical. She tried to turn it around, saying I was paranoid and insecure, that I didn't trust her. That was her go-to line anytime she got caught. She even said I was just jealous because she was better looking or more successful than me. That hurt, honestly. I felt like she was just throwing shit at me to keep herself afloat, like she was trying to absolve herself of any responsibility while making me look like the crazy one. But I knew better. I stood there, furious and betrayed, realizing that I was living with someone who thought she was above the rules. I didn't storm out in that moment. No, I was too stunned. But I knew this was just the beginning. I needed to figure out what to do next. I had to decide if I was going to let her keep playing these games, or if I was going to take control of the situation. Because the truth was, I was hurt and I was angry, and I knew I wasn't going to forget this anytime soon. After that night, everything changed. I couldn't sleep. My mind kept circling around her lies and her sneaky smirks. I was mad at myself for being so blind for so long, for not seeing the signs earlier, but mostly I was furious at her. Lisa had always been the kind to lie, manipulate, and play the victim. She'd do anything to get her way, and I realized she'd been doing exactly that with me. The next couple of days, I stayed quiet, watching her. Carefully, she tried to act normal, but I could see the cracks. She was nervous, maybe worried I'd do something drastic. I wasn't planning on yelling or throwing a fit, at least not yet. Instead, I started planning my next move, thinking about how I could get her to confess more, how to catch her in the act again, or even better, how to make her own lies implode on her. But then, out of nowhere, something even more shocking happened. I was at work when I got a text from an unknown number. "Did you find out everything? She's a bitch, isn't she?" My stomach clenched. I didn't recognize the number, but I had a feeling it was from someone close to her, maybe her other guy, maybe her friend, I didn't know. I hesitated, then decided to reply, playing it cool. "Who is this?" The reply came almost instantly. "Someone who knows her secrets. You're not the only one she's been lying to." That hit me like a punch to the gut. I felt a strange mix of curiosity, anger, and a sinking feeling that I was about to get pulled into something even messier. I kept texting, trying to get more info, and what I learned was shocking. This wasn't just some one-night stand. Lisa had been playing this game for months. There were multiple guys, and she'd been cheating on me with at least two of them. I couldn't believe it. My wife, the woman I trusted with everything, turned out to be a complete bitch behind my back. The betrayal was suffocating. It wasn't just the cheating, it was the lies, the manipulation, the way she'd lied to my face about everything. I felt like I'd been hit by a bus, but I also felt a strange sense of clarity. I knew I had to do something about it. I couldn't just let her keep playing me for a fool. That night I confronted her again, but this time I was prepared. I laid it all out, the texts, the lies, everything I had uncovered. Her reaction. She started crying, acting all innocent, saying she didn't mean to hurt me, that she was just confused and didn't want to lose me. Yeah, right. She begged, said she loved me and that she'd stop cheating, that she'd change. But I knew better. I'd seen her true face, and I wasn't buying her crocodile tears anymore. I was done pretending everything was okay. That night, after she finished her fake crying and pleading, I just sat there watching her, feeling numb but somehow relieved that I finally saw her for what she truly was. The anger was simmering under the surface, but there was also this deep sadness. I had invested 7 years in this woman, and for what? Lies, cheating, and manipulation. I wasn't sure I could ever trust her again, but the first step was making her face the consequences of her actions. In the days that followed, I decided I needed a plan. I wasn't about to let her walk all over me or keep doing whatever she wanted. I started gathering evidence, screenshots of texts, pictures of her out with other guys, even recording her phone calls when she didn't know I was listening. I knew this was going to blow up, and I wanted to make sure I had everything documented before I did anything drastic. Meanwhile, Lisa kept playing her game, trying to act innocent and sweet, but I saw right through her. She'd turn on the tears again, telling me she'd do anything to fix things, but I knew better. I wasn't about to fall for her lies again. The betrayal had cut too deep. I felt like I was losing my mind, but I also knew that I was finally taking control. I told myself I'd give her one last chance to come clean and be honest, but if she lied again or tried to manipulate me, I was done. No second chances, no regrets. One day, while I was at work, I got a call from her best friend, Sarah. She told me Lisa had been talking behind my back, trashing me, saying I was crazy, jealous, and possessive. That was the final straw. If Lisa was going to keep lying about me, I knew I had to confront her directly and rip off the Band-Aid. I decided I couldn't stay silent anymore. I needed to face her, tell her I knew everything, and see what she'd say. When I got home that evening, I sat her down and showed her the evidence I'd collected. Her face went pale again, but this time it was different, more scared, more defeated. She tried to deny everything at first, but I laid it all out in front of her. Her excuses, they were laughable. She said she was just bored, that she never meant to hurt me, that she was just having fun. Yeah, right. having fun cheating on her husband with multiple guys, lying to my face and making me look like a fool. That was the moment I realized I had to make a choice. Do I stay and try to fix this mess, or do I cut her loose once and for all? After a lot of thinking and feeling like I was on the verge of losing my mind, I made up my mind. I told her I was done, that I was leaving her. No more lies, no more games. I wasn't going to be her punching bag or her fool anymore. It was hard, sure, but I knew I had to walk away to save myself from drowning in her bullshit. The day I told her I was leaving was one of the hardest days of my life. I remember standing in the doorway, bags packed, feeling like I was walking out of my own life. Lisa's face twisted into this awful mixture of anger, shock, and feigned sadness. She begged, crying, saying I was overreacting, that she loved me and that she'd do anything to fix things if I just stayed. But I didn't buy it. I looked her straight in the eyes and told her that I knew the truth, about the cheating, the lies, everything, and that I couldn't stay with someone who had lied to me so badly. As I walked out that door, I realized I'd never been so betrayed in my entire life. The pain was sharp, but underneath it was this strange sense of relief. I finally saw her for who she really was, and I was done wasting my time trying to save a sinking ship. I didn't want to be the guy who stayed around hoping she'd change, because she wouldn't. She was who she was. In the days that followed, I moved into a friend's place trying to figure out what was next. I felt empty, like I'd lost a part of myself. I kept replaying everything. Her lies, her sneers, the way she made me feel like I was crazy for suspecting her. But the more I thought about it, the more I realized how much I'd been blinded by love and hope. Hope that she'd change, that she'd be faithful, that she'd stop lying. Turns out she wasn't that person anymore. She was just a bitch who thought she could get away with anything. I started going to therapy to deal with the fallout. I also got in touch with some of her other guys, just to confirm everything I'd suspected. Turns out she'd been cheating on me for months with at least 2 different guys, maybe more. The whole thing was a huge shock. I'd built my entire life around her, and now I was standing there, completely shattered but finally free. Looking back, I realize I learned a lot about myself through all this. I learned that I shouldn't ignore the red flags, no matter how much I love someone. I learned that some people are just selfish and manipulative, and they'll do anything to keep their lies hidden. Most of all, I learned that revenge isn't about hurting her. It's about reclaiming my dignity, my self-respect, and moving on without her poison dragging me down. Now, I'm just trying to put the pieces of my life back together, one day at a time. I still get angry sometimes, still feel that sting of betrayal, but I know I'll heal. And if there's one thing I'd tell anyone in a similar situation, trust your gut, stay strong, and don't let anyone make you feel crazy for seeing the truth. Because at the end of the day, you owe it to yourself to be happy and honest, something Lisa clearly never cared about. Honestly, I thought I'd be devastated forever. I thought the pain of her betrayal would eat me alive, but surprisingly, I found a strange sort of peace in walking away. It took me a while to trust again, to even look at women without suspicion creeping in, but I've started to rebuild. I've learned some hard lessons about love, trust, and the kind of people you never want to be involved with. One thing I've realized is that sometimes, people are just bad news in disguise. Lisa wasn't just cheating on me. She was using me, lying to my face, and treating our marriage like some game she could play and win. I was just a pawn in her selfish world. It's honestly eye-opening how someone you love and trust can turn into such a manipulative, bitchy person when they think no one's looking. Now I focus on myself. I go out more, spend time with friends, and I've even started dating again. Not rushing into anything serious yet, just trying to find myself again after all the chaos. I still get angry sometimes thinking about how she lied, but I also feel empowered. I don't need that kind of toxicity in my life. The betrayal was a wake-up call, and I'm grateful I saw it before it was too late. If I could give one piece of advice to anyone reading this who's going through something similar, it's this: trust your instincts. No matter how much you love someone, if their actions don't match their words or they keep lying and sneaking around, they're not worth your pain. Confront it, face it, and don't be afraid to walk away. You deserve honesty, respect, and someone who values you for who you are, not someone who treats you like a fool. Life goes on. It's not easy and the scars will stay for a while, but eventually the pain diminishes. You learn to breathe again, to trust again. I won't say I'm perfect now, but I'm definitely stronger. And that, honestly, is the best revenge of all.